I'm Liyana Hassanel, and this is Nightline, the top stories. PM urges all parties to respect the legal process on the graft probe involving Ismail Sabri. And government unveils a Made by Malaysia AI chips plan. We begin the bulletin with this story. A customs tribunal officer was found dead inside the Treasury office at the Finance Ministry in Putrajaya on Wednesday. Kuala Lumpur Police Chief Datuk Rusdi Muhammad Isa said authorities received a report about the incident at 10:56 a.m. Initial investigations found the deceased lying on the office floor with his neck and legs bound using cable ties. So far, no criminal elements were found at the scene, and the case has been classified as sudden death. Meanwhile, the Finance Ministry issued a statement confirming the death in the complex and said the family of the deceased has been notified. The ministry also expressed its condolences to the family and assured full cooperation with the police investigations. Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim has urged all parties to respect the legal process and to stop making premature judgments on the graft probe involving his predecessor, Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob. The Prime Minister stressed that the authorities must be allowed to conduct a transparent and fair investigation.
Prinsip dia, siasat tanpa kira. Kalau kata mengapa tak ada menteri, bagi tahu nama, bagi tahu mana rumah dia simpan duit, dan saya tidak halang tindakan. Dan keduanya, jangan kita hukum sebelum selesai proses yang telus dan adil.
Anwar said this after attending a breaking fast ceremony with approximately 1,000 Parliament personnel in Kuala Lumpur on Wednesday. Previously, Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission MACC Chief Commissioner Tan Sri Azam Baki said Ismail was being called in as a suspect in the ongoing investigation into 4 senior officers linked to him. It was reported that about 170 million ringgit in cash and 16 kilograms of gold bars worth millions of ringgit had been seized from the homes of the 4 officers and 3 other premises believed to be safe houses. In a separate event, Anwar revealed that Malaysia is embarking on its second wave of semiconductor development, with a strong focus on producing locally made artificial intelligence AI chips. To drive this initiative, the Prime Minister on Wednesday unveiled one of the country's most ambitious technology plans through a strategic partnership with the United Kingdom's tech giant ARM Holdings. Speaking at the launch of the strategic partnership, Anwar described it as a fundamental shift in Malaysia's technological landscape that will define the country's future. He added that selected Malaysian companies will be granted privileged access to ARM's cutting-edge technology and intellectual property portfolio.
Comprehensive partnership with ARM, we have conceived one of the most ambitious technological plans Malaysia has ever seen to pioneer Made by Malaysia AI chips. These chips will be designed, manufactured, tested and assembled here and sold to the rest of the world.
This collaboration will also establish a comprehensive training program for 10,000 integrated circuit IC design engineers, ultimately creating a pipeline of local expertise to support the country's semiconductor industry.
Seluruh jentera kerajaan, universiti, pusat pendidikan, industri, agensi sains harus digerak dan dikerahkan untuk pastikan anak-anak kita punya latihan yang cukup dari segi kelayakan, keterampilan, kemahiran.
The locally produced chip ecosystem is expected to generate an economic spillover of up to 133 billion ringgit. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister also announced that ARM will establish Kuala Lumpur as its ASEAN regional hub.
ARM is also establishing its first ASEAN office in Kuala Lumpur. with the aim to expand outreach to ASEAN, Australia, New Zealand markets. I'm thankful for the trust that the ARM's senior management has placed on our country.
ARM's involvement in Malaysia is also expected to lead to the creation of 10 local chip companies, with each company capable of generating annual revenues of up to 8 billion ringgit. The government's plan to develop Made by Malaysia AI chips could bring substantial economic benefits while elevating the country's position in the global semiconductor value chain. According to economic analyst Professor Dr. Ahmad Razman Abdul Latif, this initiative would shift Malaysia towards front-end semiconductor design and fabrication, sectors that offer higher profit margins and greater technological value.
Investing in AI chip design and fabrication will also create high-skilled jobs in engineering, R&D, and chip design. And this could drive demand for AI, machine learning, and semiconductor-related expertise, which will reduce the reliance on lower-value manufacturing jobs. A stronger AI chip ecosystem could also attract more multinational semiconductor firms, research partnerships, and venture capital investment, which will boost Malaysia's position as an AI and semiconductor hub.
Razman added that locally produced AI chips could drive various industries, including cloud computing, IoT, and autonomous systems. Additionally, they could accelerate Malaysia's digital transformation, supporting key sectors such as fintech, healthcare, and smart cities. Students who are repeatedly caught using electronic cigarettes or vaping in school may face a 14-day suspension or even expulsion. Education Minister Fadlina Siddiq said such action will be taken if the students have already received warnings, including a requirement that their parents attend a consultation session. According to Fadlina, the disciplinary action is a firm measure taken by the ministry to curb the use of vape in schools. Students involved must then sign a pledge not to repeat the offence.
Sekiranya dia masih engkar dan melakukan dan mengulangi perbuatan ini, maka dia boleh digantung persekolahan selama 14 hari. Dan kita juga melihat bahawa ketegasan kita itu sehinggalah ke tahap mereka ini boleh dibuang dari sekolah.
Students caught smoking or vaping will also have their offences recorded in the Student Discipline Management System for intervention by guidance and counselling teachers. The Parliamentary Services Bill 2025, aimed at strengthening the institution of Parliament, was passed in the Dewan Rakyat on Wednesday. The bill was approved through a voice vote with a majority in favour. Tabled for its second reading on Tuesday by Law and Institutional Reform Minister Datuk Sri Azalina Othman Said, the bill was passed after being debated by 35 MPs.
Selepas kelulusan rang undang-undang ini akan bergerak ke arah kebebasan, profesionalisme dan berfungsi sebagai badan legislatif yang sangat-sangat berkesan.
The Act paves the way for more autonomy for the legislative body to manage its own operations, ensuring greater financial independence, transparency, and accountability. The reintroduction of the Parliamentary Services Act through the newly passed Parliamentary Services Bill 2025 is seen as part of the Madani government's efforts to strengthen Parliament's independence and accountability as the nation's legislative institution. According to Madani Government Backbenchers Club BBC Chairman Datuk Muhammad Shahar Abdullah, the bill grants Parliament full authority to enact laws, enhance checks and balances, and ensure meaningful discourse in the interests of the people.
Dengan kemampuan pengurusan sumber kewangan secara autonomi, Parlimen tidak lagi bergantung sepenuhnya kepada pengaruh eksekutif. Ini membolehkan pengagihan dana yang lebih telus, efisien dan berorientasikan keperluan rakyat.
He added that the bill also introduces a hybrid model aimed at improving Parliament's overall efficiency. The Malaysian Communications and Multimedia Commission (MCMC) has issued a notice of intent to suspend the license of the operator of Era FM, following backlash over a video apparently mocking a religious ceremony. In a statement, MCMC said the licensee has been given 30 days to submit a response before any final decision is made. It had also summoned Astro's top management on Tuesday following the controversy. The Commission said the investigation paper was opened under Section 233 of the Communications and Multimedia Act for the improper use of network facilities based on provisions from the amended Act. In the same statement, MCMC also notified that comedian and actor Harith Iskandar and Facebook users Celia Yap have each been issued a 10,000 ringgit compound over a social media post deemed insensitive to Islam, after receiving approval from the Attorney General's chambers. The MCMC added that a request has also been made to close the Facebook accounts of both individuals and is currently under review and evaluation by Meta. Meanwhile, police are finalizing their investigation into a viral video showing 3 radio hosts from Era FM allegedly mocking a religious ceremony. According to Inspector General of Police Tan Sri Razaruddin Hussein, the investigation papers are expected to be submitted to the Attorney General's chambers soon. Earlier on Wednesday, 6 individuals, including 3 Era FM radio announcers, were called in for questioning at Bukit Aman over the allegations. The 6 individuals arrived at about 10:30 a.m. and were seen leaving the Federal Police Headquarters at around 1:15 p.m. The 3 radio announcers, Nabil Ahmad, Radin Amir Afendi Ahmad Arwani, and Azad at Jasmine John Lewitt Jeffrey, who were ferried in a black MPV, did not speak to the media waiting outside Bukit Aman. The 3 other Era personnel were seen exiting Bukit Aman, accompanied by others. The kitchens of 3 hotels in Malacca offering Ramadan buffets have been ordered to shut down for 14 days due to poor hygiene. Action was taken against them following inspections by the State Health Department Food Safety and Quality Division, BKKM, since February 17th. State Health Executive Councillor Dato' Nguwi Hisem said the hotels may resume food operations before the 14-day period if the BKKM is satisfied with their hygiene standards, particularly in the kitchen area.
Beri 14 hari, apabila dia mematuhi sudah bersih, dalam 72 jam kita akan datang beritahu pada BKKM, kita akan turun siasat. Kalau mematuhi tahap yang kebersihan, kita akan membenarkan mereka operasi.
He added that the 3 affected premises were among 41 hotels inspected in the state. A total of 36 offence notices were also issued, and 14 compounds amounting to 6,950 ringgit were imposed. 2 ice factories that failed to meet the required hygiene standards were also fined by authorities. Local manufacturing industry players remain cautiously optimistic about revenue prospects in 2025, despite possible global challenges. A survey by the Federation of Malaysian Manufacturers, or FMM, reveals that more than half of respondents expect high revenues this year, with 47% confident of turning a profit.
Our industries, we are still positive towards our economic growth. Last year, we have 5.1%. Okay, this year we anticipate it's around 5%, provided there is no sudden change in terms of global trade.
The survey also found that nearly half of the respondents foresee positive market changes, with consumer spending expected to rise. However, 91% anticipate higher operating costs following the introduction of the new minimum wage policy. Meanwhile, the manufacturing sector is bracing for intensified competition within ASEAN and rising production costs. Adding to the uncertainty is the potential impact of US President Donald Trump's policies, which could affect consumer sentiment and global trade. China has stuck to its growth target of around 5% this year as it resolves to meet difficulties head-on and unveiled more stimulus measures to support the economy as the trade war with the US looms. Speaking at the opening of the annual parliamentary meeting, Premier Li Qiang said on Wednesday that globally, changes unseen in a century are unfolding across the world at a faster pace, and the increasingly complex external environment may have a greater impact on China. Li also noted that domestic consumption remains sluggish and the pace of policy implementation is too slow. The country also set the deficit to GDP ratio target for this year at around 4%, up 1 percentage point from last year, and pledged a more proactive fiscal policy. Japan's success in reducing the proportion of adult smokers from 30% in 1990 to 16% in 2022 is a remarkable achievement that Malaysia should strive to emulate. Japanese health expert Dr. Hiroya Kumamaru stated that this significant progress was achieved through a combination of technological innovation, social change, and tobacco control policies.
According to Dr. Kumamaru, although Japan's smoking ban laws are relatively lenient compared to other countries, the change in public attitude has been a key factor as people become more aware of the harmful effects of cigarette smoke.
Japan used to be quite high for men, like more than 35%, maybe around the year 2000, but we tried hard to make smokers to understand that it's really bad, and even for the passive smoking, it's bad for your family or friends. I understand the medical society wants the smokers to stop smoking, but it's very difficult. So I'll start to think there should be some alternatives, which is, like heated tobacco product or e-cigarettes.
He also suggested additional measures such as law enforcement, awareness campaigns, incentives to quit smoking, and educating the younger generation as complementary efforts to support Malaysia's goal of becoming a smoke-free nation. For players in the tobacco industry, various smoke-free initiatives introduced as alternatives to conventional cigarettes should be explored, such as heated tobacco devices.
I think if we can move out of this 1 billion smokers, as many as possible towards a less harmful substances or alternatives, then actually we can have a huge impact on the public health. That public health impact can make this world a smoke-free, and that public health impact can make Malaysia smoke-free.
National shuttlers off to bright start. Action from the Orleans Masters after this breather.
Burung kenari terbang ke awan, sinar jingga terangi awan, indahkan memori di bulan Ramadan di TV3 siaran pilihan. Dalam kesederhanaan kita capai kemuliaan. Dalam kesabaran, kita raih kemenangan. Salam Ramadan daripada saya, Fitri Yahya.
Hai Syira, kenapa harus bersangka buruk?
Mungkin kita kena lebih berhati-hati.
Apakah antara menu berbuka yang popular?
Banyak aneka lauk pauk.
Nilai adab tinggi harganya.
Semua benda perlu ada batasnya.
Soal rezeki ni kan, masih lagi ada yang tidak memahaminya.
Hakikatnya rezeki tidak hanya datang dalam bentuk wang ringgit tetapi dalam pelbagai bentuk.
Kehebatan wanita tidak perlu dipertikaikan.
Kami bawakan kepada anda Hari Wanita Antarabangsa.
Semuanya di WHI TV3
dan stream sekarang di
Wanita Hari Ini.
Dah lama tak tunjuk skill memasak? Ramadan tahun ni, jom indahkan memori bersama keluarga di dapur.
One pot lasagna. Tapi jangan risau, sangat-sangat mudah nak buat dalam menu sihat Ramadan.
So, idea akan cakap lah, sayang boleh tak kalau you masak? So, you masak sedap. Betul sayang? Bukan macam tu sayang. Ya Allah. Okay, dah.
Anak mama masak apa tu? Salam Ramadan, indahkan memori di TV3.
Malaysia hari ini sepanjang minggu.
Ramadan Al-Mubarak kini kembali atur pengurusan masa, semoga amalan dan ibadah seimbang.
Kerap kencing di waktu malam, apakah punca dan rawatannya?
Isu kahwin campur dengan pasangan luar negara, cinta tanpa sepadan mengundang cabaran.
Jika berlaku insiden tercekik, ketahui teknik pertolongan cemas bagi membantu mangsa.
Bijak membeli di bulan Ramadan, atur kehendak dan keperluan.
MSI setiap Isnin hingga Jumaat 10 pagi, juga stream di aplikasi tonton
hanya di TV3.
We're back with sports badminton, the 2025 Orleans Masters. Malaysian shuttlers made an impressive start at the Super 300 event in France on Wednesday after defeating their respective opponents in the first round. Men's singles player Li Zijia marked his return to the competition with a hard-fought 17-21, 21-17, 21-17 victory over Taiwan's Chiyu Zhen after a 56-minute battle on court. The 26-year-old, playing his first tournament since the World Tour Finals in December, where he sustained a right ankle injury, will take on India's former world number 1, K. Srikanth, in the second round. Also through to the second round were men's doubles pair, one out of Junaidi Yap Roy King, who overcame India's Hariharan Amsakarunan, Ruban Kumar Retinasa Bapati 17-21, 21-7, 21-17. The world number 18 pair will face Americans Presley Smith, Chen Ji-yi next. Joining them were women's doubles pair Teo Mei Shing, Go Pei Ki. The world number 38 duo fought hard before defeating Turkey's Bengisu Ercetin, Nazlikan Ince 21-19, 21-17. To set up a meeting with Melissa Trias Puspita Sari, Rachel Alessia Rose of Indonesia in the next round. In another match, top seeds Chen Tangji, To Yi Wei delivered a strong performance as they chased a second title at the tournament. The world number 4 barely broke a sweat, cruising past India's Ashith Surya Amruta Pramutesh 21-10, 21-15 in just 27 minutes. Next up, they will play South Korea's Ki Dong-ju Jeong-ya-eun or Indonesia's Rehan Kusharjanto Gloria Wijaya in the second round. Moving on to football, the AFC Champions League elite. Al Ahly Saudi took a big step towards the quarterfinals with a 3-1 win over Al Rayyan in the first leg of their round of 16 tie. The Saudi side opened the scoring on the half-hour mark after Roberto Firmino's pinpoint cross into the box found Galeno, who headed the ball into the top corner. The hosts doubled the advantage 4 minutes later through Riyad Mahrez's indirect free kick. Al Rayyan pulled a goal back in the 71st minute when Roger Gedges scored with a superb right-footed strike. Al Ahly put the result beyond doubt in the dying minutes with Firas Al Buraikan finishing off a quick counter-attack, giving them a strong advantage heading into next week's return leg in Jeddah. In another match, Saudi Pro League giants Al Hilal suffered their first defeat in this year's tournament as they lost 1-0 to Uzbekistan's Pakhtakor in the first leg of their last 16 clash. The only goal of the match came just before the half-hour mark when Brazilian Flamarion tapped the ball past Morocco goalkeeper Yassine Bounou following a cross from Brian Riascos. Al Hilal fought hard for an equalizer and came close in the 86th minute, but Abdullah Al-Hamdan's shot was saved by Al-Hilal's keeper. The two teams will meet again in Riyadh next week. First tropical cyclone in 50 years. Australians brace for impact. The details when Nightline returns.
Buat apa tu? Puasa yang yuk. Pagi-pagi dah buka apa ni yuk? Tahanlah sikit lapar tu, tapi kalau buka TV3 tak apa. Indahkan memori Ramadan bersama saya, Janani. Jaga hati, jaga mulut. Selamat berpuasa. Semoga bertahan sehingga Raya.
Sihat tapi sedap. Bersama Chef Anis Nabila, tak perlu pilih. Boleh dapat dua-dua sekali.
I nak share resepi tu, tapi yang sihat. Kita menggunakan minyak zaitun dan kita masak dalam air fryer.
Cakap je nak resepi apa. Oriental, Western, dessert, semuanya ada. Resepi hebat, rasa nikmat, badan sihat dengan menu sihat Ramadan. Setiap Sabtu 12.30 tengah hari. Indahkan memori Ramadan di TV3 dan stream juga melalui Tonton. Ramadan ni, ada ke ahli klub gastrik?
Ni, lagi pun ada gastrik.
Faham. Bawa-bawa le bertaubat koma, nanti bukan pahala je lari. Jodoh pun tak sudi.
Rupa-rupanya awak tak puasa ya?
Saya puasa bang, saya makan ubat gastrik. Tak jadi.
Ramadan, I miss you. Ahad ini 10 malam. Indahkan memori Ramadan di Cerita Ahad TV3 dan stream juga melalui Tonton.
Negeri nan permai, penuh warisan.
Ketukan genta ini membawa 1001 kisah.
Genta ni tradisi dia bertujuan memaklumkan tentang kebakaran, malapetaka ataupun berkait dengan istiadat diraja.
The foreign front. Millions of people on Australia's east coast are bracing for their first tropical cyclone in more than 5 decades. Tropical cyclone Alfred is expected to cross the coast just south of the Queensland capital of Brisbane in the early hours of Friday, potentially at high tide, complicating the days ahead for emergency services. According to Australia's Bureau of Meteorology, as of Wednesday, Cyclone Alfred was just over 400 kilometers off the coast, moving west with destructive winds of up to 120 kilometers per hour. Experts warn that the cyclone may be worst felt along tourist beaches from the Gold Coast to northern New South Wales. Authorities have also urged residents in flood-prone areas to evacuate their homes as a precaution, while officials rush to open evacuation centres. At least 12 people have been killed in a bombing attack at a security installation in Pakistan's northwestern border province of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. It was reported that 2 attackers rammed 2 explosive-laden vehicles into the wall of the compound in Banu, while other attackers stormed the site before being repelled on Tuesday. Officials confirmed on Wednesday that 7 of the 12 people killed were children and 30 others were injured in the attack. All the victims were civilians who had been trapped under collapsed buildings and walls. A group affiliated with the Pakistani Taliban claimed responsibility for the attack and said dozens of members of Pakistani security forces were killed. The attack comes days after a suicide bomber killed 6 people at an Islamic religious school in Pakistan. The US and Israel have rejected an Arab plan for the post-war reconstruction of the Gaza Strip that would allow the 2.1 million Palestinians living there to stay in place. The proposal, endorsed by Arab leaders at a summit in Cairo, is the alternative to US President Donald Trump's idea for the US to take over Gaza and permanently resettle its population. The Palestinian Authority and Hamas welcomed the Arab plan, which calls for Gaza to be governed temporarily by a committee of independent experts and for international peacekeepers to be deployed there. However, both the White House and Israeli Foreign Ministry said it failed to address realities in Gaza and stood by Trump's vision. Earlier, Trump declared America is back on Tuesday in his first address to Congress since returning to power, facing instant Democratic hostility as he touted radical social and economic policies. The 78-year-old Republican said that after less than 2 months back in power, he's just getting started.
I return to this chamber tonight to report that America's momentum is back. Our spirit is back, our pride is back, our confidence is back, and the American dream is surging bigger and better than ever before.
His remarks also addressed many familiar themes. Calls for a massive crackdown on undocumented immigrants, whom he attacked as criminals and rapists. Praise of beautiful tariffs he believes will bring balance to U.S. trade relations, and criticism of transgender people and diversity initiatives. And that concludes Nightline this time around. Before we end, let's take a look at a mass iftar for students organized by Egypt's Al-Azhar University as part of its daily program that runs throughout the fasting month of Ramadan. With that, I'm Liyana Hassanel. Thank you for watching and be well, Malaysia.